Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the final whistle. Sorry about that. It's another Tuesday, and I'm here with my great friends, my great brothers here on the Bama Standard Network. Please tune in and join us. Hit that like, subscribe button. Follow us, as you can see all our handles at the bottom. I'm going to start to my immediate left. Dan Pettey, how are you today? Glad to have another show.
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be back on this Tuesday. Talk a little Bama football in this offseason. Maybe a little basketball, too.
A little basketball, too. Unprecedented times in the SEC. We will discuss. And ladies and gentlemen, our lead recruiting analyst, the one and only Dan James. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm here with a heavy heart. You know, today I buried my uncle, my second dad. You know, I would like to dedicate this show to him, David Chester Sr. You know, thanks for all you done in my life. You know, and I also got word today while I was at the funeral that my dad's sister, my aunt, passed away today. So, you know, we're here. You know, we're here, and you know, I want to keep them, you know, in my heart. You know, and prayers to my family. You know, David, Derek, Aunt China. You know, this show I'm gonna dedicate it to y'all.
I love that, man. We're definitely praying for your family. We're gonna give them something to smile about tonight on the final Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen,
Dan.
The one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend, Luscion Graves. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, Matt. You know, it's Tuesday. I'm here with the Crimson Avengers. We're talking Alabama football. Ain't no place I'd rather be. Let's get into it.
No place I'd rather be. Let's get into it. And speaking of, if you need your offensive line to get hard, I think Patrick Mahomes could have called Limestone Inc. to get hard landscaping on their yard. Pettey, could you tell about getting hard limestone for your landscaping needs?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just read something in the private chat. I'm not sure I believe or if that's real or not. But yeah, I can tell them where to go. You go to realrockstone.com. Look, if you're building that dream home, you have inevitably driven around and seen a gorgeous home with that beautiful natural stone and said, you know what, I need that on my house. Well, if you're building that dream home, no time to wait. Do it now. Go to realrockstone.com to meet all your stone needs. They are located in beautiful Aniana, Alabama. They're one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. And if you tell them we sent you today by using the promo code the Bama Standard, you will get 10% off your purchase of stone. So you can have that dream home with that beautiful natural stone for 10% off if you call them today. realrockstone.com. Give them a call, of course, after the show. But as always, appreciate you. And yeah, nothing goes harder than that natural, beautiful stone, Real Rock Stone, Limestone.
Go hard at Limestone. And guys, before we get into topics, we got a slew of topics talking Alabama offseason. We got the danger zone. We're going to talk about some basketball.
Hold on. Are y'all telling me? Hold on. I'm sorry. In the private chat, there's a discussion that Patrick Mahomes' dad got in a fight with John Rocker. And if you young people don't know who John Rocker is, he's the crazy ass racist closer for the Braves in the mid-90s. What?
They didn't get a fight. It's video. They were outside in New Orleans, obviously. And Patrick Mahomes Sr. was just chilling. I guess talking. Then John Rucker comes out and they started going at it, and they had to be separated. But I didn't see any punches or anything. I just saw them.
Nah, he just chased him around.
Yeah, it wasn't.
John Rocker was like 3 times the size of Pat. Like he did not want no part of that dude.
He was, look, say whatever you will about Rocker being crazy, but that's a big crazy dude.
Yeah,
big crazy. So speaking of the Super Bowl, guys, let's just shout out the Bama guys. Let's shout out Jalen Hurts did a phenomenal job in the game. Won NFL MVP. Shouts out to all those Eagles fans out there. Fly Eagles fly. Shouts out to Devontae Smith, who's had his trophy case is unreal. I mean, the guy won Super Bowl, 2 natties, Heisman.
He won the Super Bowl in his backyard, Matt.
In his backyard.
He won the Super Bowl in his backyard.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's hometown hero right there.
Right.
Shouts out to Devontae Smitty's
and the
Smith.
kid.
Landon Dickerson.
Landon
We got to show
Dickerson.
love to Landon Dickerson, who had the IV in the post game celebration while drinking a beer. It doesn't get any more Landon Dickerson than that.
Yeah, man, and shout out. That's one of the best offensive lines in a long time, and he's a part of it. That's
for sure. You talking about a mentality he brought, which I love. And I think Tyler Steen got a Super Bowl ring, Eli Ricks, a couple Bama guys. So we just want to shout out all the Bama guys. Congrats to those EAGS.
Byron Young.
Byron Young.
Byron Young. Last one I can,
Yeah. So shout out
too.
It's it's not that hard. All you gotta do is draft SEC guys.
Yeah.
Guys, the entire SEC line wreaked havoc.
Right.
Oh man. But so just want to shout out Bama and NFL. Shouts out to Hurts doing this thing. So guys, let's shift to the offseason. Speaking of Hurts and Devontae Smith, these guys went through plenty of off seasons, fourth quarter programs, hard work. So let's get to our first topic, and let's talk about how important is the fourth quarter program. But I want to set it up a little bit different. How important is specifically this year's fourth quarter program with DeBoer going into his second year? I think he's able to, get his bearings, kind of run the program like he wants to. He's got Ryan Grubb in. He's got all his players, no more Saban players, I don't believe, in the program. I mean, we heard Rock Montgomery. Let's just talk about how important we think this fourth quarter program will be, having all Bama guys, no distractions that we know of, or coaches retiring, things like that. Let's just talk about it. Let's go with Luscion Graves starting us off.
Okay. I think this year's fourth quarter program is actually very, very important. Probably the most important in the last decade, because this is Kalen DeBoer's actual first year. I know last season, it was his first year as a coach, but now he's got a full year in the program with his players, and he's not having to try to hire coaches at the same time as recruit and try to pick up speed while he's already moving. He's got all that established. He's already in the system. And I think now he can actually focus on honing these players' actual skills and getting them to develop in football. And the fourth quarter program is something that Alabama has been famous for the last couple of years. And it has been a catalyst to basically which makes them last in games longer than everybody else. And the competition is at an all-time high.
I like it. Dan, what are your thoughts regarding this year's fourth quarter program and how important it is for year two of DeBoer?
Yeah, year two, this is very significant. Three things, that I think, the fourth quarter should instill is conditioning, commitment, and character. I think this year more so is about, getting the guy, building camaraderie, getting physically fit, especially along our offensive line, defensive line. Let's get back. You remember two words I used to talk about all the time, in the off season, intensity and physicality. And I think we kind of lost that a little bit, this year. I want us to get back to getting that edge about us. You know what I'm saying? I think this starts with the fourth quarter program, and this year may be the most important, significant year of Kalen DeBoer to be able to input what he's trying to build within the fourth quarter program.
Great point. Pettey, anything you want to add, and I'll close this out on this topic?
Yeah, just to follow up, it's important year, like they say, to build an identity, man. You forever, Bama's identity was one of intimidation. Like there was a lot of football games won when Bama stepped on that field, And let's be real, man. I think last year it started that way, but then you smell blood in the water and you kind of become the hunt. And it's like, okay, maybe it's not to say this is time to regain that. It's time to get that crap back. So like Lou said, man, it's time to get that intensity, and it comes from these fourth quarter programs. This is where you get the blood, the sweat, the guts. This is where those games are won in the offseason is these type of programs. And it's important for DeBoer, man. Again, if he's going to put his stamp on this program, it comes in these moments when behind the scenes nobody's looking. These are where the championships are built. So it's vitally important to building the pedigree of this program going forward. And look, man, the pieces are there.
I agree. I totally agree. I think, like you said, Pettey, like Dan, like Luscion, like I think I'm gonna take it a step deeper. That I think it's important for DeBoer to kind of get his villain arc, established this year, because it's gonna be a lot of disrespect. It's gonna be a lot of, like Pettey, you said, teams are smelling blood in the water. They're thinking Alabama is not the same. And I think it's important for DeBoer in year 2 to kind of get his villain arc. He's got his team, reestablish that identity, mixed with mixed with his values, and really come out swinging and reestablish Alabama football program. And I know we had big news, Ryan Grubb breaking last week, but it's something that Kalen DeBoer sounded, which I think he's been going on his Coach Saban coaching clinic for a quarter program, was when Ryan Grubb was announced, he's coming back. The statement said, he used one word which mentioned how he was glad to have Ryan Grubb back in the organization. And when he mentioned the word organization, that sounded just like Coach Saban. So I think not Grubb, but DeBoer and Saban have been he's really been having the time to really focus and learn from the GOAT. And I think you're going to see a more, demanding, different type of DeBoer, maybe what he wasn't able to do last year. And I think, he started with, staff changes. He got his OC, he was talking about possibly bringing Ryan Grubb while Nick Sheridan was with him in the Senior Bowl. So I think you're going to see a totally different Kalen DeBoer, more of the villain arc develop this offseason. So I think, it's going to be great and beneficial for Alabama. Anything else y'all want to add or comment? Anything that comes to mind before we move on? Oh, and chat, please put in your comments, questions. If you got anything you want us to ask, we will discuss it. So we'll discuss it later in the show. But I do want to shift gears before we get to our next topic. Dan, you're our lead recruiting analyst. There have been some buzz regarding some 26 guys possibly committing. Could you kind of touch on that real quick? A few names that you're hearing that are, guys maybe crystal ball favorite for Alabama?
Okay, yeah, two. The first one I want to talk about is Jordan Edmonds. He has a commitment date set up for February the 19th. And Bama is heavily trending, 6'3", 160 plus pound defensive back. He recently won the Under Armour Next MVP this past weekend, with a great performance, and he's a guy that, a name that Bama fans should be watching out for. Another one also within the state of Georgia is Bear McWhorter, 6'3", 300 plus offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman, very physical, very impressive film. I watched it, and I think we found another one early, a guy that we got in on early, and he's going to be announcing a commitment February the 28th. So I think Bama sits very good in a very favorable position with both of these guys going into their decision dates.
Great. Luscion, Pettey, anything you want to add regarding recruiting news? Anything you're kind of hearing? Dan, I'll bring it back to you regarding recruiting. Looks like Alabama's, big on some in-state guys. Obviously, look like they're hitting Georgia pretty hard. It looks like they're spending a lot more time in the state of Florida. Obviously, California is going to be a huge pipeline for us for connections. But can you expound on Alabama kind of doing a lot more in the state of Florida this year as opposed to last year?
Yeah, without a doubt. Us being able to evaluate, Courtney Morgan is has been on campus long enough, to watch film, to recruit this region. It's about building relationships, and him coming from the West Coast to the Southeast, and having time to build relationships. That's what these junior days and, spring evaluations are all about, going to getting out on the road, going to see guys. And, you want to start setting your recruiting board early, and they're off to another tremendous start, and that start, they understand, the talent level, in the state of Florida, and I think this year they'll be able to capitalize better.
Great job. Thank you for that, elite recruiting analyst, Dan. So, guys, let's shift back to Alabama football. We discussed, recruiting, the buzz. We got a few commitments coming in. And we discussed about, how important this fourth quarter program is for Kalen DeBoer going into year 2. So let's shift gears to talking about the tight ends, a group that we feel like is pretty talented. We got a few returning starters coming back, Danny Lewis, Cuevos, who was a surprise this year, but we got a lot of young talent. So, guys, let's talk about the talent we have in the tight end room, and then let's bring in the second part of the question is, can Ryan Grubb, with his offensive knowledge and exposing matchups, how can we, generate and, really highlight this tight end room with the talent that we have? And I'm going to start with Pettey on this one.
I'll start with me on this one. Well, I know Cuevas, I thought he looked good in spots. You're going to start with me on this.
I'll go with Dan.
No, it's going to throw me under the bus real quick because I'm going to say the tight end room's probably going to be better. Caleb Edwards, I think, may flash early.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to get a little more opportunity in this offense.
It's one guy I know Dan loves raving about. It's the guy out of Georgia. He's high on, and I think
actually out of North Carolina.
Sorry, I don't know why I said Georgia. Can you talk about him and expound on him? How you think he's gonna, kind of possibly be a difference maker and be utilized in Ryan Grubb's offense?
Yes, we're talking about Marshall Pritchett.
Pritchett? Okay.
Yes, I love his length, his ability to flex out. He put out a highlight video of him, just straight blocking. And I think that's something we've been missing, particularly on the perimeter. This guy put out an entire highlight tape, doing that. That shows his commitment to his craft. And I think his mindset, going into it, he's very mature, 18-year-old, very mature, and he's somebody I really got circled. I'm really anticipating him being able to contribute day one, and he's, just the right mindset, very athletic. We also have Caleb Edwards coming in, that we were talking about, you guys like as well. But I think this Marshall Pritchett guy, I think he's going to be the real deal. I think, very similar Miller Forrestall, but I think he's going to be a slightly more productive, and how that worked out for us.
What do you think? He plays into that too?
I think he's a little bit more athletic.
Yeah.
Am I reaching on that more so than Miller Forrestall?
No, and let me tell you now, Miller Forrestall, he was bruised up a lot. He frail body playing tight end because Miller Forrestall actually played wide receiver. He played quarterback, then he switched to wide receiver. He played little tight end at Carroll.
Okay.
When he came to Alabama, we moved him to tight end because of his length, and he took a beating, but he gave his body. So towards the end of the career, he was moving around like a gimpy old man, But this Marshall Pritchett, he is built for this. He is built for this system. He's a guy that loves the block. He relishes it. No, he's going to come in. He's going to play. I'm telling you, guys, he's going to be a big contributor year one.
So listen, Pettey mentioned Edwards, the talented freshman. Dan mentioned Marshall Pritchett. Luscion, just give me who you're excited about and just highlight this tight end room and how they can be effective with Ryan Grubb at the helm.
Everybody's pretty much said them, like, as of right now, I'm kind of looking to see who actually grasped the offense under Grubb, because all these guys have different talents, but it's about who can actually be utilized and what Kalen DeBoer and Coach Grubb actually want to happen within their system. I think it comes down to who blocks the best, who grasps how to actually get in space, because if you look back at how Grubb actually runs his offense and what his tight ends actually do within those offenses, it's actually a little bit different than you actually see your normal tight end do. So it takes a little bit more of an athletic person than your normal prototypical tight end. And that's why all of us are saying that these younger guys are going to fit the system a little bit better. Not saying that the older guys don't have a chance, but I feel that, Danny Lewis, it's his time. He's been in the system a bunch of years. He knows Alabama. It's in his blood at this point. So it's his time to shine, and the ball's in his court. But at the same time, we got some young guys coming up that are already on campus, minus Caleb Edwards, who doesn't enroll till I think the summertime. But Marshall Pritchett, even though he had surgery, he balled out from what I understand in his All-American All-Star weekend. So I'm excited to see how much space they can actually give one of our quarterbacks, because we already got 4 takers. You add another tight end in there on any of those guys we just mentioned on an inside linebacker, that's gonna gash the defense. So I think our tight end room is gonna go from being maybe 19% of our offense, maybe last year, maybe 9%. It's gonna be probably upwards of a good 30%. Our tight ends are going to see a lot of increased production.
I agree. I think you're going to see increase in production overall. Pettey, you're going to love this because we're going to have a more accurate passer. So,
I thought you started with me. That's why I was like, you were like reverse. No, I can talk about the tight end room, but my first thing is going to be they're probably going to get more chances at the ball because, to get to the tight end, you got to get to 3-4 on the progression more times than not, and that shit just wasn't happening. So,
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why I took it to Pettey and I started opening up. I threw him a softball and he hit it out of the park. So I'm sorry, Chad, and forgive me. Oh man, I got to get my guy.
I don't care people can hate on me all they want. History's gonna prove me right on the Mill Road.
Listen,
don't you hate all you want, but my eyes attached to my brain told me forever the dude couldn't throw, and he couldn't, and I was right. Y'all were wrong. I'm sorry it hurt your feels.
I know 2 things that gets Pettey's revved up. Talking about Miro at quarterback and Sidney Sweeney always gets Pettey
about that.
Engines revved up. So,
and the Denny dog.
The Denny dog. Bring it back, Greg Byrne.
Greg Byrne, if you want a title, you can bring back that damn Denny dog, homeboy.
All right, guys. So let's talk about, speaking of off-season program, it's intense. You got to have discipline. You got to have commitment, hard work. And you're going to be doing a lot of cardio, working out. We know people are in the gym trying to get rid of the holiday body weight, get fit for the summer. And if you're going to be working to get fit for the spring or the summer, why not have an amazing crimson title towel made from wetwillsports.com. So please use the promo code standard. Get you a title towel at wetwillsports.com. Use the promo code standard, that STANDARD, and get you an amazing, beautiful title towel. So I got through that segment talking about towels without making any Hugh Freeze jokes. How about that, guys? No Hugh Freeze jokes. What's the kick? Justin Tucker jokes.
Now it's Tucker jokes.
No Deshaun Watson jokes.
Woohoo!
All right, guys. So let's go to shift gears with our next topic. Let's go to On an Island with Matt and Chris, and obviously I'm the only one on the island. So
you're stranded on the island, brother.
Welcome to On an Island. Me and Chris. He got deserted on the island. He's somewhere on a raft. I don't know where
he's at. For coconuts.
He's asleep under a tree somewhere.
he ran off like Montoya. All you Twitter fans out there who know about Montoya, Chris ran off. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So on an island, I'm going to discuss about lessons learned that Alabama needs to get back to offensively, defensively. Offensively, and I'm just going to take the Philadelphia Eagles, for instance. Guys, they had the number one defense running the most simple scheme out of all. They did not have to blitz, not once, versus Patrick Mahomes, which is insane. So, we got to reestablish that physicality. Defensively, we're returning 10 starters. I think it's important that, from Kane Womack's perspective, he knows the 4-2-5 teams. Everybody's got film on the 4-2-5. Okay, now you got to take it to a next level and figure out how I can be a little bit more creative, innovative, and really get these opposing offenses on their heels confused, because you got the great secondary, you got the pieces coming in. So I just think it's important we get back to playing physical football on the defensive end. Listen, I think that's something we need to work on. And offensively, going back to the Philadelphia Eagles, I think the most impressive thing, although they won the Super Bowl, I want to talk about that NFC Championship game where they rushed the ball. They had 7 rushing touchdowns. I know Ryan Grubb likes to throw the ball as much as he wants to, but let's not forget the running game in our offense. Case in point, look at the Philadelphia Eagles, what they did in the NFC Championship game. 7 rushing TDs. Like, don't forget, football is still won up front in the trenches, as you can see, no matter how many glitz and glamour you have on the outside. Let's run the ball and be physical and set the tone with, Richard Young, Jam Miller, the transfer running back, AK Deer. We got some talented horses, so we need to make sure we feed these guys. And I hope that's something Ryan Grubb will be able to do, because I know when he was the offensive coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks, a lot of Seahawks fans were kind of complaining regarding he's not running the ball enough. So hopefully him and DeBoer can get in the lab and make sure they see we have a Ferrari, a Lambo, whatever, a McLaren. We got all of it. Let's feed these guys and get the offense, just rolling by running the ball, being physical, getting the offensive line better throughout the season. So those are some things I want to talk about. Anything else, Luscion, you want to add about lessons learned about offensively, defensively that we need to take going into year 2 under DeBoer?
Yeah, I think specifically I'm going to talk about the defense because you already know. Yeah. I think the defense needs to take the fact that our secondary played outstanding, and we got a lot of those guys back, and we're going to get another guy, 2 guys back that are going to be healthy, which is going to help out. We added a transfer in and some more competition. That's going to keep these guys hungry. Now, the main thing I think they need to learn and progress in year 2 of this system is the pass rush. The sack total, I mean, everybody can say what they want. The defensive pressures on the quarterback was high. The hits on the quarterback was okay, you know, but the number of sacks, you got to get the quarterback down in the SEC because the quarterbacks we're playing, if they get away, there's 15 to 20 yards of nobody till a DB turns around and realizes, well, oh, shit, I got to go tackle this quarterback or escort him out of bounds. And a lot of times that's really what hurt us this year is us not being able to get either the quarterback down or the running back in the backfield. So I would say the tackles of loss need to be a focus and actually getting the quarterback on the ground.
I agree. And to the piggyback off what you said, Lou, it just brought to me, we need to stop trying to do these arm tackles. I've saw too many times where we had linemen reaching for trying to tackle somebody. I'm like, lower your pads and hit them in the mouth. Like, hit them in the mouth. So we gotta stop. That's how you really affect offense. That's how you get guys on the ground. Hit them hard. Use your pads. What are you gonna say, Pettey?
But you started it out with a simple back to basic fundamental to what the blueprint to having an elite defense is. It's a defense that doesn't have to blitz because they got 4 dogs up front that wreak absolute hell on a quarterback and give your back 7 every chance to play nothing but zone, exotic coverages, whatever they want to do in the back 7, because you got 4 dudes that make it feel like you're getting blitzed every play. And you want back to dominant defenses, you got to have 4 defensive linemen that can absolutely just wreak havoc.
Got it. Speaking of defense,
there's a word for that. It's called road graders.
Road graders. Speaking of road graders, let's bring in our road grader who's all around the Mr. Around the Table Sports, the one and only Ty Hayes. How are you, sir?
I'm alive.
Oh. You're alive.
Legendary.
We have the voice.
Yeah.
And this episode is sponsored by Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol. Ty, you doing okay over there, brother?
You want me to lie?
You're gonna need Hugh Freeze for a whole nother reason.
We're good. Just
okay, good.
That flu's going around, and you mix that with a bunch of first graders that my wife teaches, and I'm patient 0 for whatever new bug goes around.
This segment is brought to you by Pedialyte.
Pedialyte.
And chicken noodle soup and orange juice and
saltine crackers.
Hot toddies.
Yeah.
So Ty, we were just talking about on the island, you know, I was talking about lessons that Alabama can learn from year 1, and I, you know, specifically geared it toward what we learned from Philadelphia Eagles, you know, getting back to playing physical defense. Talked about them on the defense, and offensively, I talked about how we need to bring back just intense running game, and I brought it back to the Eagles as well, saying in the NFC Championship game versus the Commanders, they scored 7 rushing touchdowns, not even barely throwing the ball, you know. So I talk about how we need to reestablish the run with Ryan Grubb. So Ty, anything you want to add on that, or just anything you want to add regarding Alabama football, what you would like to see in year 2 under DeBoer?
No, I think y'all hit it on the head. I think that we have to have a pass rush. I mean, this secondary next year, I am as excited for this secondary as any secondary in the last decade, even under Nick Saban. Like, that's how good I think this secondary is. From Damani to Zabian to Bray Hubbard to Keon Sabb, like even mixing Zay Mincy in there. Then you get Cameron Calhoun from Utah, who is one of the highest rated defensive backs in the nation. Like, let's not forget that. He, I believe, was top 10 in the nation.
Yeah.
Highest graded DBs. And guys at Utah have actually spoke out and been like, yeah, Bama just got a monster. This secondary is so loaded. But Lou, you hit the nail on the head, man. You think this secondary is good now? Wait until quarterbacks are dropping back, feeling pressure from Gonze Pierre, and then they have to get rid of it. Ivan Taylor, 5 Adams says, yeah. And don't forget about the kid that transferred in from Charlotte, Cam Hayward. I forget his last name,
Yeah,
but the kid's a
Howard.
workhorse. Just green, right? Like just has a lot to learn. Kid's a workhorse, though. You gotta love his attitude. Coming in, knowing that he's gonna have to work, seeing some young guys take some spots, and him just doubling down and working. Like, you gotta love that. That's exactly what Bama's all about. But Lou, you hit the nail on the head. Pettey, you're 100% right. If you can get home with 4-man pressures, I mean, when Bama beat the brakes off of Michigan State, I think they blitzed in that playoff game twice, maybe. And listen, what I will say, if we're being objectively fair, I don't know that that's going to be a thing anymore with NIL, just because defensive linemen, right? Like, it's unless you're Georgia's just stacking defensive linemen, but it's going to be hard, even for Georgia going forward, to keep those classes. I mean, you look at Texas walking into the state of Georgia, getting a big win for one of their top guys. But you have to get more pressure on the quarterback, and you have to be better than what Bama has been. There's no doubt about that. Whether that's mixing it up, if you can get home with 4, that's great. If you can get home with 5, that's great. But Lou, you hit the nail on the head. You have got to be able to get home. And if you think this secondary is good now, just think of this, guys. And this is the last thing I'll say. This secondary was that good. Like, I think they were top 12, top 15 in the nation, maybe even top 10. Like, they were that good. Lou, how many sacks did Bama have? Let the people know.
25 sacks.
So you have that few sacks. Now, granted, LT was a monster in quarterback pressures. I give the man that. If he starts converting close to home, he might have had 10 sacks himself. So it's about
we were
converting.
7th nationally in interceptions. So
that's ridiculous. That's how good this secondary is. Hats off to Coach Mo. That guy right there is earned a major payday. That's really all I have to say. I think y'all killed it.
Speaking of transfer portal, we got somebody else coming in, top safety, the one and only. He's like Montoya. Chris James. Chris, are you there?
Montoya, por favor.
Is it Montoya? Chris, you Montoya.
Matt, we're in this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We're in the same house.
Oh man, let's go. What's going on, Chris Montoya? I said you were running like Montoya on Twitter.
What's going on, fellas?
Chris, we're talking about Todd just came in and talked about, Luscion was talking about the pass rush. I discussed how lessons Alabama can learn from, and I specifically talked about the Philadelphia Eagles offensively and defensively, running the ball, establishing a run, defensively being physical up front, pass rush, affecting the quarterback with 4 down linemen. We got to get back to that. Is there anything you would like to add regarding
what the fuck?
Adding what you want to see from Alabama, either offensively or defensively?
Yeah, I want to see Bama. Well, I go both sides, starting with the offensive side of the ball. I would love to see Alabama impose their will again in the running game, where we're throwing it not because we have to, but because we want to.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because, man, when you have those types of backs, that's why I feel like we lost a guy like Justice Haynes, because we weren't running it enough. And he's the type of guy that he got better as the game went along with his touches. I would love to see us be able to protect the quarterback, man. I want to get back to the days when we had the Leatherwoods and Karen Robinsons and the Jonah Williams of the world at offensive tackle, and we kept a clean pocket, and our quarterback had all day to throw the ball. I want to get back to that brand of football instead of because of like the last 2 years, it's just been too much pressure, man. It's like and everybody. It's not just the top teams. It's been everybody. It seems like that we've been getting a lot of pressure from. And defensively, I want to see us get back, like what Lou said. Want us to get back after the passer because defensive back's best friend is a good pass rush.
Yep.
Just like Philadelphia, man. That wasn't that beautiful, man. Sunday with just
Beautiful.
4 guys. How they affected the game, controlled the game with just 4 guys up front. And then with us, like Ty was saying, like this may be the best secondary we've had in a while. So now we just have to. We know we can man up or play whatever we want to do on the back end. Now we just got to get home, man. Like those sacks that Overton missed last year, he had to capitalize on that. This year, he has to bring the guy, get the guy down. Q Robinson, I believe his injury turned out to hurt us more than we expected because he was getting after it at the beginning of the year, but when he went down, our pass rush off the edge dropped, declined significantly. Then when Coop left and got in the transfer portal and then finished the season, so we were kind of thin there. But I expect us to really pick it up because you have a guy like Justin Hill who's hungry, man, a freshman coming in from Ohio.
Noah Carter.
Noah Carter year 2. Then you have Henry Kidd from JUCO. That's number 1 edge, and so I expect us to finally be able to get home, man. And now I think like we're in year 2 of Kane Womack's defense. He can start unleashing those exotic blitzes now.
Okay, Chris, I'm not trying to cut you off. Watching not Georgia, but Philly's defensive line, specifically their 2 D tackles. If you could be Kane Womack, who would you be? Who would be our 2 starting D tackles? I'm gonna start with you, and I'm gonna go around the horn.
Right now, our 2 starting defensive tackles.
If it was up to you, not saying what's on the roster. If it was up to you,
James Smith, definitely. And it depends. You got Keenan at the nose. I like whenever we have a nose in there, Keenan. But as far as inside, where we getting after the pass,
I'm talking about putting pressure, affecting the quarterback. I'm talking about getting to the quarterback.
Personally, if it was me, I have 2 guys on the edge. I have 2 pass rushers. I have Overton on the inside. I have James Smith on the inside. That'll be my.
You got Overton, James Smith. Ty, go.
So the only thing I'd differ is I'd keep Overton at his normal position. If it's a pass down, James Smith, Jeremiah Beeman. Jeremiah Beeman showed me a lot last year. I think he is going to absolutely explode on the scene. And trust me, I know a little bit about exploding right now. But let's not forget about Steve Mbua, right? Let's not forget about Steve M. That kid's going to be a problem. And I'm still Pettey. I don't know. I'm looking around to see where this camera is. Once I find it, you're done.
Ty sent group pick, man. I just went ahead and threw it up as a backdrop.
Luscion, give us your if you Womack, who's your top 2 starting D tackles right now?
Come back to me.
Okay, Dan, who you got?
Come back to me.
Okay, you're saying starting, or are you saying situational pass?
I'm talking about right. If you're the D coordinator, and we need to stop to just rush forward, who's going to be your 2 in the middle?
Oh, okay. Now you're talking about a pass rush situation. I'm gonna say LT Overton and Jordan Renaud.
Oh, I like that, Renaud.
Hey, that's a good. Jordan Renaud was a monster this year.
Pettey?
Man, I'm gonna echo Ty. I like the Smith Beeman combo. I liked what I saw out of Beeman. I think that kid flashed, and I think that's young. He's got another year in the program. I like those.
James Smith is definitely
Smith's
not coming off the field for me. I'm sorry. He has that type of
interesting
vibe for me. So anybody else? I don't know who I would put up there. Luscion, back to you.
Give me Jordan Renaud and James Smith because those 2 are the only ones that actually inflicted violence on opposing quarterbacks. Those are the only 2 that actually got penalized for being violent on our defensive line. I really don't like saying that, but the fact that our defensive line doesn't like inflicting pain on opposing players might be a problem. To be a proper defensive lineman in a pass rush situation, you can't be nice. Being in the trenches, you can't be nice. You're going to get dirty. You got to be mean. James Smith, that's a mean dude. Jordan Raynaud wants to take your head off.
Yeah.
Some of them other guys need to get that attitude. And we got Kelby Collins coming on the outside. So I'm saying, like, LT better bring it. He better bring it because there's young guys coming on his heels. And I know he's a senior right now, but this is Alabama. And freshmen flash every day here.
Hey, a surprise guy to keep your eye on is Edric Hill.
Yeah, I like when he came in. He was nasty.
It's going to be nasty when you have guys like Fager and Hill. Now our evaluation is about to show how we, because, they were under the radar guys. Now we're about to see true development of how they're getting developed.
And also, we got Kelby Collins coming in.
5 Adam pointed that out in the chat too.
Well,
Kelby Collins can see some time on the inside, but yeah, I think he's more of an edge dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna be on the outside probably.
Yeah, he's more. Now
he's at roughly about 290 in pass rush situation. I think he's gonna be on the inside.
Oh, he done got that big. Jesus.
Oh, if he's that big, you can play him inside. Noah Carter's gonna be.
We're gonna say
incredible though. Noah Carter is going to be incredible once he completely learns the position. I haven't seen a kid that athletic in so long.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some young guns that's going to make some noise. If we can get the rotation down with personnel and get these dogs hunting, it's going to be nasty for Alabama. So, guys, that's on the island. We got Chris Montoya back. He ran across the beach back to his room. So guys, let's shift from on an island to the danger zone with my good friend Luscion Graves.
All right, guys, this week in the danger zone, it's all about walk that walk and let that walk do the talking for that walk. And what I mean by that is it's very simple. These guys have been talking a whole bunch the last couple of seasons off what their message is, off what their, motivation is, off what their goals are throughout the season and throughout the offseason. That needs to stop. Alabama needs to get back to having that attitude of just working hard, outworking everybody day in and day out, getting better, iron sharpens iron, because that end result will in turn talk louder than anything they're going to be able to say on any social media platform. Winning and dominating for 4 quarters is what built this freaking mountain, and they need to get back to that. Now, I heard Rock Montgomery. He did say some things that I'm a huge fan of. Getting rid of all the excess stuff, getting rid of all the distraction. That needs to go. I'm a huge fan of that. Now, hopefully they keep that attitude up. I understand this is a new day and age, and I'm not saying these players can't be individuals. But at the same time, these individuals need to learn how to become a team, and they need to be an aggressive team. This is Alabama. They need to be bullies for 4 quarters, not just sometimes, not just when they feel like it. They need to have this energy high for 4 quarters. I did not see any jumping around on the sidelines. I did not see anybody really yelling the last couple seasons like they have in the past. And really, ain't nobody scared of Alabama, and that's a problem. Now, they can do it by putting the fear back in people. It's not that hard. They got the personnel. We just listed off how many different positions on the defensive line, how many different combinations we can have. It's all about, can these players buy into what Kane Womack and company is trying to get across? Can Christian Robinson get this message about how to properly bend an edge and actually get to the quarterback with heinous aggressions? Because if they play aggressive, our offense is just going to be able to just do whatever they want. They're going to do that anyways. But the more times we get them the ball, the more successful our team's going to be. So danger zone this week, simple. Let that walk do the talking and get back to walking the Alabama way.
Very good.
I love that. And I think what you're basically saying, Luscion, is let your pads do the talking. Hit somebody in the freaking mouth. Like, be physical. We don't have to say much. Let our play do it for ourselves. Somebody wake Professor Xavier. Man with the jokes off the top rope.
Oh shit.
Can we get a wide copy? Oh, man, that's hilarious. All right, guys.
This
So,
episode is brought to you by Serta and Pepto Bismol.
oh
It's our
man,
new NIL deal.
Tempur-Pedic. So guys, let's shift. I know we got our basketball analysts on the show, Pettey, Dan, and Chris. Let's shift gears to, we know Alabama's playing in Austin right now. Tough road game. Let's talk about the SEC. Let's talk about the game tonight in this SEC Gauntlet and the big matchup coming Saturday, the Iron Bowl. College Game Day going to be there. Let's discuss how talk about that game more in details. And Pettey, just talk about how the unprecedented year the SEC is having in general, and then break it down to Alabama and the Iron Bowl and the SEC Gauntlet.
Well, man, I'll start off with the unprecedented year. If you go off the net, the SEC has just surpassed the 1997 ACC as the highest rated conference in the history of basketball. So this is the deepest, best basketball conference to ever play going right now. And man, Bama's right there at the top and breaking that down. And it just shows that the history of SEC basketball isn't the strongest. For the first time in basketball history, in SEC history, we will have a 1-2 matchup, and it's going to be in the state of Alabama and secluded to the state of Alabama as Auburn comes in to Coleman, number 1, after dropping to Florida last week, and number 2, Bama. Bama can take that 1 spot from them, and I like the Tide's chances. But look, right now they're in Austin, like you said, go play in Texas. Texas got the best shooter in the SEC. It's this young kid, Trey Johnson. He's going to get his, but that's about all they have. As long as they contain everything else, Bama's going to be able to roll against Texas. But no, man, like you say, in the schedule, you got number 1 Auburn Saturday, then 21 Missouri on the road following that, then number 15 Kentucky, 22 Mississippi State, number 5 Tennessee, followed by number 3 Florida, followed by again number 1 Auburn. That's how you finish. Everybody's ranked. Half of them are in the top 10. The SEC is just unreal. Yeah, Bama's up 35-26 right now. Like I said, as long as they keep, Trey Johnson and everybody else contained, Bama's going to take care of business tonight. But man, got a big one coming up Saturday, no doubt. Like you said, game day. Biggest game in Coleman Coliseum history. It's going to be awesome.
Before I give it to Dan and Chris, I know the Iron Bowl, Alabama Auburn is going to be crazy, but that Alabama Florida game is looking like it's going to be a major heavyweight as well with what they're doing. Chris, basketball expert. Just give your take on Bama. What they need to handle, obviously handling business tonight, and what they need to do to kind of, get the dub versus Bruce Pearl and those Auburn Tigers on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a big one coming up, and by being at home and the crowd playing the factor, that should give us more a little more juice. I think with the reemergence of Chris Youngblood getting back into his form, I believe that really gave us a boost on the offensive end. I think Saturday night, guys like Stevenson, those unsung heroes, Holloway, they're going to play. Diabate, those guys are going to have to play. We know Broome's going to get his, but I think Broome's going to have tough sledding against Big Cliff. I know Broome's going to get his, but Cliff isn't going to make life easier on him. As in the past, we had to play Grant Nelson at the 5, and it kind of showed. Now we have a couple of true 5s in him and Cliff and Aiden Sherrill. So I think it's gonna come down to rebounding. We can't let 2 or 3 of those Auburn Tigers go off. Broome's gonna get his, but guys like Miles Kelly and those other guys, man. What's the guard, left-handed guard name? The wing 6'7" kid. We can't let multiple guys just go off. But I think that we just play Bama basketball, man, and don't have all those stupid turnovers like we tend to have when we have those brain farts at times. The
I
defense is
think that
much better.
kid's first name is Narc and last name Alepsy.
I thought his name was Deez.
But yeah, man. But if we just do what we supposed to do, man, we'll handle it. We'll handle business easily.
Think about the Denver Jones.
Yeah. But that's not all. That's not it, man. Like we have to take care of business tonight. Texas trying to hang in there. No, we're up by 9 currently. That trip to Missouri, man. That road trip to Missouri is going to be. It's not going to be fun by any stretch.
Missouri's always hard too.
Yes, we always struggle on the road in Missouri. And Florida coming up. So, man, we that back end is loaded, man. But we can navigate that. I think it was Jay Billis that said that this SEC tournament will be harder than the NCAA tournament. Let that sink in.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good this tournament is. It said the SEC tournament will be harder than the. So like I said, I expect at least 4 SEC teams in Elite 8, possibly 5. That's just how good I think this conference is. So we'll see. It depends. And then the bracket, it depends on how the bracket shake out too.
Damn.
Yes, huge game this weekend, but we're not going to overlook, what we got going on in Austin. I think Bama's up by 11 right now. This is a very important game. Good job, Coach Oats, having the team ready. I'm glad that we didn't come out flat, in this game. So we want an electric environment, in Coleman come Saturday. We got it was I think, Chris, you were referring to Chad Baker Mazar. That's the one you were referring to? Yeah. We need to contain him. Janai Broom, like you say, Chris, I don't think Cliff is gonna make it easy on him. He's gonna try to get a lot of his baskets, around the rim, and Cliff's gonna make that kind of tough for him, but he can step out, and that I think that where he has an advantage on Cliff. But we could, we're so versatile, we can switch off, put Grant on him. Grant can guard away, Stevenson, so I like the length that we had, which was hurting us at times last year, to be able to, the length on the perimeter, being able to guard on the perimeter with length. And it's a huge game, man. We continue, to turn the ball over a little bit too much to my liking. We can clean that up. Auburn is a team that is going to capitalize on it. So, we don't want to make it easy on them. Let's not beat ourselves. Auburn is a team that shoots well at home, so, we can't allow them to get open looks, too many open looks. Let's get out there, get hands on face. Let's push the pace of the game, not let them dictate the tempo of the game. And but it starts with the crowd, the environment. Let's have an electric environment. Let's not let the Auburn fans come in and take over. This is our home game. It's 1 versus 2. It's an opportunity for us to really give it to those farmers down in Lee County. So I'm expecting, Bama, to come out victorious. I'm saying Bama by 7 to 10 points. So that's kind of result I'm looking for and anticipate.
Question for the basketball analysts. I know before the AP poll came out, everybody was predicting Alabama to be number 1. Do you think they got it right? With Alabama coming out number 2, I believe, in the country.
I'm gonna answer that like Nate Oats said, this weekend at the press conference. He was like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That Alabama basketball has arrived. So, ranking doesn't matter. We're about championship this year. We're about winning the championship or bust. Getting the number 1, we're not satisfied with that. That's not gonna change who we are. That makes sense. We want to be number 1 in the final poll. You know, we could care less where we're at right now. You know, it's exciting time. You know, we're probably at the pinnacle of Alabama basketball. You know, so you know, we're not satisfied with being number one in the poll. You know, we're looking for a championship. You know, we're not trying to be number one in the poll to say we have arrived. Everyone knows that now. We've been probably the most successful program, you know, outside of UConn the last 3 years. You know, so it's time for us to kick the door down and you know, bring home be cutting down the nets at the end of the season. You know, so I think that's you know, big respect to Nate Oats for what he has built here. You know, he has set the expectations very high. You know, guys that played here, you know, 5-6 years ago, basically probably not good enough to play now on this team. So the level that we're recruiting at, the guy we're bringing in to contribute, you know, we're literally 13 deep.
Yeah.
You know,
one of the deepest teams I ever remember seeing. And I'm talking about legit depth where guys can come in and give you 22 points or give you a double-double like Diabate coming off the bench.
Right.
Absolutely. And I agree with you, Dan. I think you're dead on. It doesn't matter. But also on the flip side, I don't think they got it wrong. Auburn's only 2 losses are to Duke on the road and a Florida team that's, by the way, also in the top 5. So, and you know what? You get them this week, so go take it from them. And guess what? You're number 1 on Monday. So, like Dan, it don't matter.
And also, I'm happier that we're number 2. Like, so we feel disrespected, like we're the hunters going into there with them being number 1 as opposed to the other way around, them coming in trying to be the hunters.
Give it a little extra chip. That's right.
I'll say this about Alabama's team. I remember last year, 2 years ago, with Brandon Miller, we went to the we were number 1 overall seed. Okay, this team is better because we don't have a Brandon Miller, but we have a bunch of guys that will play in the NBA. You know, Brandon Miller, of course, was the number 2 overall pick, but we got guys that we have pros. Like Brandon Miller we may have had how many pros on that team? Brandon Miller, was Keon Ellis on that team? Or he was the year before? Now Keon was with Herb, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, he was on that team with Herb and Pettey.
With Herb. Yeah. Bama's up to 18 now.
I was lighting it up that year, by the way.
But my point being, last year, what did we say? We said, dog, man, Diaco would have stayed 1 more year.
Yes.
Diaco would have stayed 1 more year. Would have won. We probably had a chance to beat UConn, won it all. That's what we have with Bama this year. We have a Diaco and Big Cliff, but he's better offensively than Diaco. But but man, like we're so much better defensively, especially protecting the rim right now. But in addition, you add a guy like Phylon, a guy like Aiden Holloway. We didn't have that last year. A guy like Aiden Holloway, then you added a young blood. My goodness, man, like that is offensive firepower, man. Like we knew what we had last year, but we just got hot at the right time. You get what I'm saying? Like we didn't play that well during the regular season, but we got hot at the right time, caught fire. But it's like now we really have a team that's like a true number 1 overall seed.
Oh, they're going to be a number 1 seed. But people pointed out, I got to give some credit to, I think Joe and maybe even 5 Adams said it. There is one more to this team, and it's the turnovers. There's like 4 or 5 games in a row with double-digit turnovers and almost an increasing number. The one thing was, I think they had 19 against Georgia. Georgia couldn't convert it into points. They only had 9 points off those turnovers. Unfortunately, when you get into March, you're going to play a team that can make you pay for those turnovers. Hell, not just March, coming down this home stretch against the Kentuckys, the Auburns, the Tennessees, the Floridas. When you're turning it over double digits, those teams can hurt you. So I agree. I do want to point out, as great as this team is, if there is one more, and you guys know playing ball, the one thing in the worst moments, your Achilles heel seems to rear its ugly head and catch you. So that's one thing they definitely need to clean up going into March, is the turnover situation.
It seems like we're playing our best basketball right now. We were 7 before Phylon took the last 3. We were 7 of 11 from 3 in the first half against Texas. We were up by 18. Texas is a tough place to play, man. Like Texas is they made life a living heck on Auburn. They
got the best shooter in this. He said that young kid, Trey Johnson, the freshman. That kid,
between him and the guy from Florida. Florida has a very good.
That kid from Missouri. what's the kid name? The white kid. Oh my God, man, he is unreal, huh?
D.
He is. Yeah, the kid from Mizzou is unreal, man. He's like his range is he has Steph Curry range. It's crazy, man. They went. Remember, keep in mind, Missouri went into Florida and won. And that kid, man, he doesn't miss, man. And it's just like now it's to the point where we just can't let multiple guys beat us. You let one guy go off, but everybody else, you got to limit everybody else. And that's what it seems like we've been doing. And we're hot right now. We probably won like what 13 out of our last 14, Pettey, or 14 out of our last 15, something crazy like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And our only loss was a slip up to Ole Miss on a sleepy night. The same night Missouri.
I mean, when you face juggernauts from Oxford, Mississippi, that just happens sometimes. You know, it is what it is.
That's why Ole Miss needs to keep winning, man, to make Bama.
No, but that was just you're good. But that's just more of a nod to the SEC, man. You got to play every night because this is again the best conference in the history of college basketball. So if you have one night where you and that was a night where Bama didn't have their A game and Ole Miss caught them off guard, but Bama answered the very next week going on the road, winning a big game, beating Kentucky and Rupp Arena. So they showed immediately how the championship pedigree in answering. But the Bama, you got one blemish in this SEC environment. That's impressive as hell right now.
They don't seem to be pretty good at getting this team prepared off a rebound loss, But like for example, like Kentucky beat top 5 Tennessee and were up the night by 11. That's not just a place you just go in and win.
No.
Remember last year we went off by what 40 there. Was it 40 there and 50? They hung 100 some on us.
Yeah,
it was embarrassed. We got embarrassed last year. It was ridiculous.
Well, I think we covered that. Alabama cut down the turnovers and keep winning. We'll be cutting down the nets at the end of the season. So, Pettey, it's been a minute. Is there any interesting mail coming through the mailbag?
Yeah, man. I had a few questions come in again this week. I hit it up last week. There was a week or two hiatus where I lost my email. But, this is where I answer life's deepest questions, whether it be sports or anything in the world that people want to ask me. And I feel like I need to provide my deep insights. And, man, I had a good one that made me really think. I was like, Pettey, if you only had one condiment, and I know we got one gentleman in this group that doesn't believe in condiments, but if you only had one condiment for the rest of your life, which one would you choose? I was like, dang.
Ketchup.
Man. So you got okay, so ketchup's your overall, man. For French fries, it's got to go on a burger, even though Lou says he cooks burgers that you can't put it on, but I guess he's never been to a fast food restaurant where you kind of got to have some ketchup. Ketchup's your world beater, but then you got to think mustard, man, because if you take mustard out of the equation, hot dogs, corn dogs, they're done. That's what you put on a corn dog and a hot dog, unless it's a Denny dog. That's a whole different concept.
I knew it was coming back.
That's the only hot dog that can have a little bit of ketchup because it's a part of the concoction. Other than that, it's mustard and relish. And so mustard's important. I mean, you can't sleep on mayo because if you take out mayo, you're talking about dressings. You're talking about all them good dips at Super Bowl parties. You're talking about that turkey sandwich after Thanksgiving. I mean, mayo is one you can't sleep on. But guys, barbecue sauce, that's a condiment, man. That's
mayo's gross.
But if you need a barbecue, hot sauce,
hot sauce, baby.
But I come back to it. If you make good barbecue, you can live without barbecue sauce. What did you say, Chris?
Hot sauce on my burrito, baby.
Put some hot sauce on my burrito, baby.
That's how I'm feeling right now.
So are y'all saying hot sauce? Y'all couldn't live without hot sauce? Is that?
No.
Ketchup is the one I can. I think ketchup is the one that I can't live without.
Dan,
man, I'd say mustard or ketchup. Mustard, is versatile. Like you say, hamburger, hot dog.
Awesome.
Yeah. You can't make potato salad with ketchup.
That's right. You got Mayo, man, takes out a lot of crap that you don't think about. I mean, it would take some stuff out of your life. You'd be like, damn, I maybe shouldn't have got rid of mayo. Now they don't have ranch dressing no more. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, question number 2. I'll let y'all decide, chat. What could y'all not live without? Pettey, you look like somebody that is well read. Well, you're correct. I've read at least 10 books in my life. What is the best sports book you have ever read? Woo, good question. My Summer of 56, Mickey Mantle's book on his Triple Crown run, which was more about his partying in New York with all those crazy people, was a great one. Bo Knows Bo was one of my favorites. Friday Night Lights, Booby Miles. I read that when I was in high school, learned about the lore of Texas high school football. But man, this is a tough one. It's either Ricky Henderson's book or The Buys, because those were the 2 wildly most entertaining books I ever read. If you haven't read The Buys, Brian Bosworth goes from his time in high school through his time in Oklahoma, and holy shit, was it crazy. But then Ricky Henderson's book, man, that dude is a national treasure. That if he would have been around in the social media more era where you could have got more clips of Ricky, people would have gotten to understand just how special Ricky Henderson was. Is one of the best quotes of all freaking time. So I'm going with that.
Pettey, I want to cheat a little bit. You know,
who you gonna go with?
Sports book. How can you not mention Athlon or Lindy's?
Because I wrote those, and that was just yearly reading, man. Hey, and I read The Blind Side. That was, that was a good one actually, because it was a lot different. But Athlon or Lindy's, does that count, man? I guess I've got about 47 versions of those. All right, final question. Pettey, since you're the wisest man that we know in all of sports, YouTubed them, can you put a final nail in the argument on who gets to claim Jalen Hurts, Alabama or Oklahoma? God bless America, you idiots arguing over this shit. Y'all are all idiots. In the revisionist history, since Hurts has won the Super Bowl, is one of the most magical things. Like Bama ran him off, yada, yada. No, man. Like, there's two things can be true at one time. Like, he did great things at Alabama. He stayed even after he knew he lost his job to Tua, and it worked out in winning a SEC championship, coming back and getting put in, and he still knew the writing was on the wall. There's a reason Bama fans, Oklahoma people, still love Jalen Hurts, because he did everything the right way. He's about as classy of a person as you could ever want from a player at your institution. He's the guy that the quintessential, that's who I want my daughter to date. That's Jalen Hurts. He's that dude. But unfortunately, man, life happens. Tua happened. The greatest quarterback in Alabama history happened. Everybody saw it with their own eyes, and business decisions had to be made. Hell, he might have ended up at Miami if Saban wouldn't have stepped in and said, hey, go to Oklahoma, get Lincoln Riley. It's a better situation for you. So guess what? We all get to claim him, because Hurts is one of those guys that was a good guy. He did great things at Oklahoma too. So everybody get over this why bullshit. No, he played for Alabama. We claim him. He won a title. But, man, yeah, then he went to Oklahoma, did some stuff there too. Y'all get mad at me, but that's the way it is. You both claim him. Everybody just get the hell over it.
And let me say this. If Hurts would have left after he got benched for Tua in that championship game, then Oklahoma and played 2 years at Oklahoma, they could have claimed him.
Yeah.
By the fact he stayed an extra year and got his degree and came in and saved us and left on a high horse on good terms, that's what really endears him to Alabama.
I have to think about that.
Like Jahmyr Gibbs, right quick. Like, he did 2 years at Georgia Tech, but he came to Bama for 1. Hurts did 3 years at Bama and graduated.
Yes.
Then
same with J-Mo.
For 6 months. For 6 months now.
I have a take. I want to pose the question. The year Jalen won us the SEC championship, when Tua got hurt in the game, in the Georgia game, do you think if we would have started Jalen in the Orange Bowl and in the national championship game, we would have won the national championship that year instead of getting blown out by Clemson?
No, because Clemson was cheating. They knew everything we were doing, dog. Like, I never seen like the interception, the pick six. no, that was perfectly timed. But think about it. Ever since who was that called out Venables, and ever since that happened, and teams kind of picked up that Clemson was stealing signs. What happened? When last time Venables had a defense that was just crazy? Think about it, y'all. Ever since that coach called him out, I can't remember who it was that called him out, but somebody called out Venables for Clemson for sign stealing. And dude, I really believe. That Lou.
Yeah, I do.
Defensively, ever since then, since they got called out, people started changing up the way they do signs and stuff on the sideline. Like Venables hasn't been the same. But I really truly believe that night because Clemson did everything perfectly, dog. Like nobody, like Bama wasn't the way Bama lost. Like Nick Saban never lost a game like that. A champ. You get
and Enos was leaving, Mike Loxley was leaving, so I don't know if we were prepared like we should have been.
But no, man, it's like they did everything perfectly, man. I just think that they had our signals, dude. I really believe they really knew what was coming, Pettey.
My biggest disappointment was that first national championship game when Sark had to call the offensive play calling. Jalen Hurts scored a touchdown with like a minute left.
The defense gave it up.
And the defense gave it up. I could never been more hurt.
A historical defense.
Yeah.
A historical great defense. I was so hurt. So
I got a question. Did Jalen Hurts start as a true freshman at Oklahoma?
Nope.
And I'm like, if he was so good, why didn't Oklahoma offer him? It makes
he had offers.
He came to Bama. All right, guys, let's get to the chat question and answers. Can y'all put up some questions and answers? Q&A session real quick. Because Bama would go after Sark. I don't know. I don't even want to think this far. I think DeBoer is. I'm telling you, when I heard DeBoer mention the word organization in his statement regarding Ryan Grubb, I was like, oh, he's been talking to Coach Saban heavily since the end of the season. He's been talking with Coach. He's going. I think you're going to see DeBoer act like Saban a lot more moving forward. Luscion?
Doesn't DeBoer have a great record against most of the coaches that were in the college football playoff the year that he was in? I think the only coach that beat him would have been Jim Harbaugh, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But check this out. Also, in addition, I think that we can't afford another coaching change right now. That'll really kind of decimate the culture and show that we're in an unstable position. Like we got to ride it out, man, with DeBoer, man. You know, because they're putting good things in place.
I think DeBoer's the right guy.
Yeah, without a doubt.
A guy who can win at Washington, Indiana, Fresno State, wherever.
But think about it, fellas. Like we lost. People don't understand how much we lost off that team last year. How many transfers we lost off that team, and how we had to kind of plug guys in. You know what I'm saying, to play this year. So, you know, to still go, it's underachieving 9-3 regular season, but the Alabama standard, but still, and losing to Vandy is no excuse to that. You know, losing to Vandy, losing to Oklahoma, that was no excuse. But still, we were in a tough spot, guys. If somebody would have told you that Saban was retiring and you lost 20-some kids, even including Caleb Downs and Isaiah Bond, and you lost all that off your team, and Bama's going 9-3. I mean, as Bama fans, we may have been like, we don't want to hear it, but it's realistic. You get what I'm saying? It's like from what we lost 9-3, it's still a pretty doggone good job considering all things that transpired with Saban leaving suddenly.
I agree. Good point. Next comment. I get if he said Ryan Grubb is just a name. He ain't done blank yet. I'm going to tell you what. His name's not Nick Sheridan. I can tell you that, and that's all I care about.
And let me say that it's just a name.
He more than just a name.
He made his name. Like, you know, you can't say it's just a name. He made his name. What
He
you
was
mean?
so
Just,
good, he got offered an NFL offensive coordinator job.
it's just a name. He made that name.
That doesn't come too often.
Like saying, it's just like saying LeBron James just a name. LeBron James made that name. I mean,
but we get your point. We get your point, Kennedy. Update Vondae Cleveland. Dan.
It's we're still battling. Bama is still in it. We lost momentum, but we're gonna see. Just we're gonna follow the visits. We're gonna see. He was saying that he made a decision too early and everything. So we're gonna see. I expect him to take it all the way to early signing day before he makes another decision somewhere closer to then. So Bama's still in it, but Bama's not gonna wait around and be left at the altar twice.
Yeah. Great question. Van Edwards says, y'all gotta start painting y'all nails and get Ryan Williams NIL money. I know Pettey got some nail polish. Some trailer gas left. Left behind, laugh out loud. I ain't gonna paint my nails, but I will take the money. Who will the QB2 be?
You pay me enough money, I'll paint my nails. What you talking about? How much money we talking?
QB2. I don't know who the QB2 is.
Yeah, we don't even know who QB1 gonna be.
Yeah, we don't know. I think we're gonna find out more spring 8A games, so it'll be interesting to see.
Hey.
I can tell you who QB2 won't be. That's all I say. QB2 won't be Ty Simpson.
Nope.
Yeah.
If he leaving, if he loses a job.
I don't see him losing a job personally.
I don't either.
I think he might go in, but Keelan Russell will be on his heels.
That's a tall task. I mean, he's talented, but freshman coming in, we'll have to.
We just talked about a guy that did it. We literally just talked about a guy that did it.
Trevor Lawrence.
No, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Oh,
you were asleep doing that segment though.
No, I haven't been asleep tonight. I'm wide awake tonight, baby. I haven't been asleep tonight. I'm good tonight, y'all.
We just had two freshmen that basically did it. I mean, come on now. It ain't not a possibility at Alabama.
Caleb Williams. I mean, it's now that these high school guys are becoming more ready to play.
That's true. Good true. If he grabs the playbook, I think he got everything else. He's got the arm talent. If he can just get the poise and grab the playbook, it's gonna be good competition.
But he's going through spring.
Yeah,
that's the key thing. He's going through spring. All bets are off when the freshman comes in and goes through spring. All bets are off.
And it's only 3 quarterbacks in the race too. So,
Will's got a good question. Will spring practice be physical, and will they work those little things that get you beat? Right. I want to hear y'all's time. I think spring practice is about to go the way of the dinosaurs. I don't think we're going to see much spring. I bet it's about to be like the damn Pro Bowl.
I just don't want to see any more ice cream truck.
Sure.
Yeah, we need to.
Thank you, Ollie. Appreciate you, Ollie.
I think I'm going to be honest. I think spring practice is important because – listen, like we just said,
practice is important. Game, not so much.
We got a quarterback competition. Like we got guys. There's a lot of competition that needs to go out. Receivers, everything. So I think it's going to be.
I'd say everywhere.
Yeah, regarding the physicality, I think, like I said, I think DeBoer has been talking with Saban, and Saban has been talking with DeBoer, and I think the physicality at practice is going to be increase a lot more going in year 2 under DeBoer. I think that's something that Saban probably talked to him, say, listen, you need to have a little bit more physical practices, all that stuff. Last year, I don't know if he was just trying to please those older guys when he came in, but like I said, I think you're going to see a different Kalen DeBoer this year in year 2. That's just my thoughts. So hopefully that answered your question, Mr. Title Towel himself. Do you guys think Saban missed in last year's classes a lot? Bust. Oh, we talked about this. I agree. I think we missed on a lot of players. I don't think it was a lot of wow players. It just seems like it was. I hate to. It was a lot of underwhelming talent. Dan, you're our recruiting analyst. Can you elaborate on this topic?
I think the evaluations kind of got lazy towards the end of his tenure. Not necessarily from Coach Saban, but I would say the staff, the guys. You had things happening. Doing with coaches on the road that really shouldn't have been happening. Not to get too far into things, but I think there were quite a few misevaluations. I'd say that.
Chris, Pettey, Luscion.
He was a terrible recruiter. What can we say?
I don't think it was a terrible recruiter.
Look. The landscape changed at the end. I think there were some misses, but I think it's easy to miss kids because you don't know what you're getting these days. I'll harp on this over and over. I don't think fans have fully accepted it yet. It's obvious by our own shows and listening to people talk that football's different. Kids are different. We're dealing with a different breed of kid, and the dudes y'all grew up playing with aren't the dudes we're watching and cheering on anymore. So it is what it is. So yeah, you're gonna have bust because you're gonna get kids to campus and they're gonna be pre-Madonnas or maybe even post-Madonnas. Who knows? But that's kind of the way it's world.
But you can't call a kid a bust after 1 year.
No. And that's the other thing. That's a great point, Chris. We've become such a microwave society that if a kid doesn't make it out of the gate, he's a bust.
Right.
It's like there's no room for development anymore. We forget that John Elway sucked his first year. We forget that Peyton Manning, his first year in the NFL, broke the NFL record for interceptions and then became one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. In this society, that guy sucks. Get him out of here. He didn't make it.
I'll give you another name.
That's a great point.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah. Development is a real thing still.
Right.
Bryce Young, Sam Darnold.
Go ahead, Lou. I got something to say.
But at the same time as we're doing that, we can't give players more chances because of the state college football is in, because of the transfer portal. Because sometimes, and Bama's been guilty of it, we may have been giving an older guy a chance to play somewhere on the offense or defense that really didn't belong out there, and it ended up hurting us very, very badly. I think that's something else we also need to, shy away from too.
Pettey,
open competition.
Anybody come to mind, Pettey, when Luscion makes that statement?
About
it's a joke. It's a joke.
I knew. No, that's why I said about I've already gone on my.
No, that wasn't about him, Matt.
I think it was about some older guys. Trying to get Pettey riled up.
No, I think it was about some older guys. That's why I'm not taking the bait. And look, I've set myself to a one Milrow rant a show, and I've already done it, so we're good. With that, though, we do have a $19.99 super chat coming in late from Ollie.
Lee.
Didn't know if you guys mentioned it, but shout out to the Bama guys for winning the Super Bowl. And how about that 2nd and 26 remix dagger to the Slim Reaper and the same dome he lost the 3A state title for ME. Talk about full circle of life.
Right.
Yeah, my man.
Wait, but didn't they say Smitty was going to be too small for the NFL?
Yep.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to be tough enough. He wasn't big enough. He couldn't take all them hits.
We tried to tell him there's another Eagle named Deshaun Jackson,
who's a beast. Can I say this too?
He's Jerry Rice. He's Marvin Harrison. He's that guy. He's that mold.
Yep.
The New York Giants have continued to be
the dumbest damn organization on the planet.
They traded that pick. They let the Eagles trade up with them, trade with the New York Giants, and let the Eagles draft Devontae Smith.
So they could have had him and Neighbors.
Yet they go with Daniel Jones and then trade Saquon Barkley to the Philadelphia Eagles.
They took Eli Apple over Laramie Tunsil because he smoked weed. So they're smart. Not as bad as Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams and that idiot from North Carolina over Patrick Mahomes and Jaden Daniels. So you could be that dumb.
Yeah. It's like the Buffalo Bills let Kansas City trade up and get Patrick Mahomes on their pick. And it has haunted their franchise the past, 4 AFC championship games. So it is what it is. But, guys, that's what we do here at the Final Whistle. Thanks for the chat, Brian Russell, Van Edwards, from 5 Adam, Ali, Kenneth. Thank you, guys. Tyson Boyd. Thank y'all for tuning in. Follow us. You can see our links at the bottom. Pettey, how can they reach you, sir?
Man, all over this network. I'll be back Thursday night at Going Hard in the Paint at 7:30 Central to talk a little more Bama hoops. We'll probably be talking about Bama's up about 20 right now, so I think we can rest safely that they're going to take down Texas tonight. But we will be previewing the big matchup against Auburn, man, talking about the biggest basketball game in Coleman history and the biggest basketball game in SEC history. Coming live to you from Coleman. So check us out. Going Hard in the Paint, 7:30 here at the Bama Standard. Then I'm back on Monday nights with Smoke, who just does nothing. He's like my own personal wrestling heel. At any point, he's going to drop a bomb during the show that, oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts is the worst player on that offense, and just fire everybody up. Check us out Monday nights, opening kick, 7 Central. And then I'm back here Tuesday nights with my guys, the Avengers, every Tuesday night, 8 Central. That's all I got. Oh, and I'm on Twitter and all that. Pettey. Do what?
I was about to ask you something, man.
You got
in reference to what you said, I lost my train of thought. It was
He was
something
dozing off, guys.
to what you were talking about. Oh yeah. How much would you say tickets cost? What cost to get in this basketball game Saturday?
Ooh, that's a good question. I didn't even look that up. I bet they're going for a couple $100 right now. I bet it's probably $200-$300 to get in the stadium.
Yeah,
which is insane. Never thought I'd see it.
Dan, how can they meet you? I mean, not meet you, but
Dan got an ad on farmersonly.com.
You can catch me on X, Twitter at the Final Whistle Dan, Instagram Dan James the Fourth. That's Dan James IV. You catch me Tuesday nights at the Final Whistle. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And on the very same network, every other Wednesday night, we won't have a show tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central, the Crimson Dynasty. Thank everyone in the chat. Y'all be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate y'all taking your time out on Tuesday night, especially during the Bama basketball game, to be with us.
That's what we like to hear. Luscion, how can they follow you?
You can find me on X at 4RowLu24121. Facebook and Instagram, Luscion Graves. And on Tuesday nights, you can find me exclusively at the Final Whistle with the Crimson Avengers, talking about the greatest football team at the greatest university ever created. Roll daggum time.
Roll daggum time. Chris.
Yo, you can find me on X at I think it's Coach Chris James. Yeah.
It's at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, yeah, okay. You can find me on Instagram at final_whistle_Chris. You can find me on Facebook at Chris K. James Sr. And you can find me here on Tuesday nights with the most amazing cast in podcasting. It don't get no better than this, baby.
Let's go. It don't get no better than this. So
unofficial GM's coming, baby.
Unofficial GMs, we're going to get into some draft talks. So we'll be maybe shifting on an island to a unofficial GM segment. So we're working on some things. But guys, as always, thank you guys to the chat. Tell everybody, tell all your friends about the show, and tune in next Tuesday where we'll have another exciting show. But in the meantime, in between time, we like to end on those two favorite roles, Words. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, roll.
And we don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.